Everyone. Thanks for joining the mentor session. I'm James Giglio. Today we're going to have a bit of a rapid fire session due to prior commitments, but we're going to get through this very efficiently and I'm really excited to be here today. So without further ado, we're just going to get right into it. First question is coming from Sarah Hamilton. The question they asked is, can you recommend any apps or programs to use for organizing your to-do lists, prioritizing tasks, and time blocking? Our business description and background of the question is, I own a growing and expanding barbershop and need help with organizing. Well, great question. I have referenced this in the past, but I think most businesses, whether you are a startup, mid-size, or even larger, the Google suite of services is my biggest recommendation, especially now that they've integrated into more project management or task management workflows, which is now called Google Workspace. Emails are essentially free to a certain extent, but then you can also buy a larger database worth of options in terms of memory and storage to keep your files. Integrated into the suite is a calendar, which is my best way to keep efficient and organized my time. I also established call block times for myself that is company-wide. You can share a corporate calendar with each of your team members that has transparency to what everyone's doing. And so when I have my call blocks, I essentially block out a few hours of each Wednesday that the team knows that James is busy with his outreach, and we can respect each other's workflow on that end. So my biggest recommendation is to really delve into the Google suite of products, Workspace in particular. If you are already running through some other email or management system, there are a ton of other project management platforms as well. We had used what's called Basecamp in the past, and Basecamp is a great project management platform that, for your business, it's a little bit different given that you're a barbershop. I'd imagine most of your tasks are going to be with colleagues. You may have an appointment setting service with your customers, but Basecamp was really a great project management platform that you can exchange information, review tasks, make to-dos, cross-reference to-dos and what have you there. So you may want to take a look into that if that suits you, if Google isn't a great option. We build software, and so our to-do lists are called tickets. So our ticketing system, we put on a platform called Trello. Again, not the right platform for you, but you're down the good path in terms of being able to leverage platforms and software to help maintain your scheduling and your tasks. But ultimately, it does come down to you, right? Whether you have a workout regimen, a diet regimen, you could have the best information or apps in the world, but it takes you to kind of follow that and maintain the commitment into following that. So again, just in summary, Google Workspace, check it out. I think the platform has really grown over the past year, and they finally caught up to these other PM systems that just keep everything holistic within your emails, your calendars, etc. All right, question number 2 here is coming from AJ Couts. The question they asked is, how do you know when it is time to fire a client? Business description and background of question. In my online marketing agency, there are 2 specific clients who consistently are frustrating to deal with. Their communication standards do not exist. When they need something, they expect our undivided attention at the expense of anything else, and they consistently struggle to pay us on time. Both can afford us. It's not a cash flow issue. I'm at the point where I'm ready to be done with them mentally, but firing them would reduce our monthly revenue by 30%. I'm struggling with the idea of losing that much revenue, but gaining so much time back. AJ, I feel you, man. Clients sometimes are bittersweet, right? And we value each of our clients and the revenue that's associated with them, and you really do have to respect that relationship. However, that doesn't mean that the customer is always right. The one thing that we've learned in our business is essentially people will take what you give them and then take some more, right? And so one of the things that we really had to learn from a project management system is really to set milestones and guidelines to dictate your standards in order to provide the service that they're requesting. Remember, they're paying you for a service. You should have some ability to really set milestones per your condition. Now, it's a very delicate thing because at early stages of a business, you'll do anything for a client and you'll bend over back. But again, the old adage of taking an inch and giving a yard, or giving an inch, taking a yard, is certainly true, especially with clients. And so over time, if you allow the behavior to continue, you've already set the standard. So one of the things that I try to coach our team on is really to establish these milestones, because you'd be surprised when you put your foot down or you draw the line in the sand how much respect the client will have for that, especially when it warrants an additional fee. One of the things that we've gotten very strategic with is making sure that any requests that come out of the original scope are presented first with, absolutely, we're able to do this, but it's tied into another price point. And you'll be surprised how less important those features are when the customer has to actually pay for them. Another strategy in terms of collecting revenue, again, is we try to require as much as 90% deposit up front at signature of the contract. Now, that was an upgrade from when we initially started, where we would require 50% down payment at the execution of the contract, 50% at the completion of the project. But we learned, again, you give people some leeway and they'll take advantage of that. So we got a little bit more firm, a lot more firm, by requiring 90% up front, because that allowed us to spin up the resources, and chasing 10% at after 30, 60 days is less of a financial impact than chasing 50% of an invoice. Another strategy that we have, and if you're developing online marketing, there could be some give and take in deliverables. So with us, with building software, each milestone in the exchange of a software release, for example, will require a payment before we can go to the next phase. And so, I don't know where you are. It sounds like you're pretty exasperated with these particular clients, but if you're willing to re-establish the workflow and really provide firm guidelines within your scope of work, you'll really be amazed how respected that is from the client. And if you have a good project manager, even if it's yourself, as the owner, it's tough to play mean guy, nice guy. I certainly understand that. So if you have an intermediary or a document that you can hide behind, right? It's like, hey, here's the contract. If you remember, we had very clear, specific dates. You really lean on that before you can go to the next phase of the project. So I certainly feel your pain on that one. It's definitely a growth process for you. However, if you are at the end of the road, you certainly have every right, and respect you for making that decision of letting go of the client, because sometimes it's just going to cause more headache and cost you more money in the long run. But again, it's the business universe has a funny way of replacing clients as well. So once you kind of shed that weight, so to speak, don't be surprised if your resources and your mental bandwidth and your other bandwidth will find other opportunities. So so good on you for being there at this point. All right, so the next question here comes from Joe Nugent. The question they asked is, how do I offer benefits to my team members when I have just a few? Who do I speak with? The business description and background of question is, I own a home inspection and home watch company. Joe, this is a great question, and I think as entrepreneurs of any business size or scale, I think the PEO industry is a great resource. For those that don't know what a PEO is, it's essentially called a professional employer organization. I think we actually have a fellow AO member, Steve, who can assist and consult with how you choose the right PEO. So essentially what a PEO functions as is a all-in-one payroll, human resources, and benefits company for you. And so essentially they'll pass through benefits of a larger size company for your team members, because you are one of thousands of companies under the umbrella of this PEO. So the health insurance companies, view that company as a large corporation, so you get the benefit of more affordable health care or benefits. The two companies that I have worked with and would recommend, the first one is called TriNet. They're actually based in Florida, and they're pretty well known. They were probably one of the first market movers in the PEO space. If you want something that has a little bit more of a advanced user interface, very user-friendly website and back-end database, there's a company called JustWorks. JustWorks is a fairly new startup that has gotten into the space, but their portal and management website is really stellar, and they provide great value. So I would take a look into those, but again, also I think we're fortunate enough that we have someone in the group here that can help you choose the right PEO, and it takes so much off your plate, not only from the benefits, but from human resources as well. All right, so the next question here we have from Quade Sturdy. The question they asked: how soon is too soon in regards to scaling? Business description and background of question: I am an owner-operator of my construction business. I'm only 23, so there can be a lack of credibility that follows. I would love to get my vision crystallized and put into motion. However, I feel I will face people that may not want to work for a 23-year-old. Well, listen, don't get ahead of yourself there. I think your work will speak for itself despite your age. Scaling too quick for most companies generally means spending in places that they shouldn't be spending at, and not having the financial resources or sales to support it. So when you hear about growing too fast, you may get that contract early on in your career. It provides some funding, and then you staff and you increase your overhead, and next thing you know, now you're scrambling to find the next bid or the next piece of business, and you have too much fat essentially in your business that your business can't support it. So I would be very careful in trying to force a scale, because growing doesn't necessarily mean headcount, right? Growing is revenue, and growing is building your brand reputation and really your reputation as a carpenter, and I think you're a construction business. So you have to remember that this is a journey, and I think at 23 years old, you have a lot of time ahead of you to really hone in and strategically build your business on the quality of your work, and growth will find you from there. So I think as long as you're a professional, you provide a great work environment, you have a healthy business, people are going to come to work with you. And I think your next question can kind of go through some other pillars in terms of management, but that's this is a lesson in entrepreneurship, and you have the great mentors here to kind of help you on where you need to be and think as a business owner versus just a carpenter or whatever your trade is in construction. All right, so your second question is, what are the essential business systems all organizations need to thrive? Okay, same thing, you're trying to scale your construction business as fast as possible. However, I must maintain a strong foundation. I would like to know what the most vital pillars are to build from the start. Okay, so with any business, and this is probably something you've heard ad nauseum here in the group, is the number one pillar is sales. You need a sales system to find the right clients and to provide the business revenue for your business. So by and far, that is the most important pillar in starting a business. You can have the greatest crew, you can have the greatest product, the widget, what have you, but if you have no one to buy it, you really don't have a business. And then you can kind of put a subcategory into marketing. So sales and marketing fall in line, but you don't want to overspend at an early stage on the marketing efforts or PR, for example, but having a sales system is really paramount. The second thing is operation systems and processes, right? Where you need to refine your workflows, what your processes and policies are, because that's going to provide a lot of efficiency to when you are able to scale. You're going to learn a lot along the way. and you're going to figure out ways that you can refine certain steps that will save you money, save you time, and so forth. The third thing is management, and as a business owner, you really have to be a leader and have management skills, especially as a young person, where it's all likely that you're going to have a crew on your team that is much older than you, and so they need to earn your respect to a degree, and if you can really take some time and better understand what it means to be a good manager and understanding human relations, that respect is going to be earned very quickly, no matter the age of your colleagues. So management is number 3. And then the fourth thing is accounting, financing, bookkeeping. I would certainly recommend trying to align yourself with a bookkeeper, whether that's a traditional CPA or someone that can help manage a QuickBooks. QuickBooks is a great accounting software that you can have online that helps manage all of your expenses. And so those are the real 4 pillars that I would say that any business needs to start off with and really master to continue a long-term success. All right, so the next question comes from Gabriel Suarez. The question they asked is, I'm looking for suggestions or ideas for incentivizing team members for raising their total sales during shifts. Ideally, suggestions that have been tried before with positive outcomes. The business description is, I have a chain of retail stores specializing in natural and holistic wellness. The objective of raising sales can be done a few ways, like getting more customers, having them come back more often, and in my opinion is the easiest one to improve is upsell existing customers. My biggest challenge is finding an incentive program that encourages more sales without creating tension between team members or have them in any way feel the reward system is unfair or favorable to some. We have some employees that work a lot more hours than others. Some work on busier days than others. One thing that I considered may be good is to reward based on each employee's average sale value instead of total sales or some other metric. We have some stores doing a lot better than others, and I'm starting to feel that it's more staff working in the shops over its location or demographics. Well, I like where you're headed here, and incentivizing individuals for a job well done is certainly a great strategy, especially when it's going to reward you as the business owner in more sales and them as an employee. One of the things that we like to try to do is to gamify, these type of reward systems, and that can certainly, be in a myriad of different ways when you talk about gamifying, right? And so, we try to essentially set short-term incentive plans as well as long-term incentive plans with our sales folks. But if you can create a gaming system, whether it's earning points or having a sort of fun tracking system, I think really breaks down the barrier of what you're looking to do, where you're really trying to increase revenue for your business, but not create such infighting. But a healthy competition is good. So if you can think about ways that you can kind of gamify your incentives, that could be helpful. So the short-term, incentive plans that we have for our sales folks, for example, is anyone that has worked with Tom Black certainly understands the need and the necessity for new meetings. And so we'll do a weekly game where the person with the most logged new meetings or presentations wins a gift card, right? And that could happen every week. It incentivizes them to perform, because even if it's just $25, an Amazon gift card to buy something, to do your job on top of what your commissions are, gives a good piece of competition between the sales team as well, because you can take a look at the end of the month and say, you know what, I hit 4 gift cards for the month, and their sales folks generally are fairly competitive, or at least the right ones. And then the long term, you can kind of break that into either monthly or quarterly goals. This way, you can kind of maintain the endurance of, what the people are participating or how they're performing at work. And then, that can really lay out, who are the short-term sprint people that are just trying to get an incentive for a week versus people that are like really gunning for, that monthly or that quarterly goal. And then, I think that'll elevate them in their role for your company and professional growth as well. All right, so the last question here is, actually two more questions here is how can I overcome the fear of starting a conversation with someone? Business description and background of questions. I'm in network marketing. I'm looking to build relationships with people. I'm great interacting one-to-one with people when conversation is flowing, but when it comes to starting a conversation with a complete stranger, I feel like some things just blocking me. I go through how conversations will go in my head and it sounds great, and then it actually comes to start the conversation, I just have this mental block and procrastinating over doing it. What are ways I can overcome this? Listen, anxiety is certainly something that many of us are ill with. I for one can certainly relate. My watch was talking to me there. But I, at one point in my career, had a performance anxiety in giving presentations. But what I had learned is the more you do it, like anything else, the repetition of doing them, the less fear that you have because you can kind of overcome. And that's one of the things that I love to challenge myself on any particular task is, rewards always are on that other side of fear, right? And so, but anxiety is real, and it should be something to consider in terms of how you can navigate your business and your personality. So the one thing that I found very helpful because there is nothing, even if you're an introvert, right, there's nothing more awkward than just walking up to a complete stranger and starting a conversation. So the important thing here is you can think about what are sort of non-threatening icebreakers, right? And the one thing that I found that is extremely helpful when sparking a conversation, and I even use this in my sales techniques, is ask questions. Ask for help, ask questions, or ask for information. Because what you're doing is you're completely disarming a cold conversation and you're empowering the other person to want to help you, right? And so that is going to be a great strategy for you to just break that ice with a benign comment. Where's the bathroom? Or where can I find this information? And it doesn't come off in a way that you're intrusive or you're selling anything. If you're asking questions, it breaks down a barrier. People really enjoy talking, especially about themselves, so you can ask questions about them. But then as that conversation starts, it sounds like that's where you get back into your comfort zone. So, key takeaways here is to practice, ask questions, and then quite honestly, evaluate where your anxiety is after that. And certainly if it's, to a point where it's crippling, then you can certainly seek assistance on that end, but it doesn't sound like you're there. But disarm the situation and just ask a question. You'd be amazed how willing people are able to help, especially in a networking setting. All right, Quaid again, last question here. We have, what makes more sense, targeting one specific field, scaling, then expanding, or slowing the growth process and build systems for all targeting avenues along the way? Again, Quaid is looking to build up his construction business. And, I think, Quaid, this is a very important question at this stage of your business, because as entrepreneurs and business owners, what you want to do is scale the widest net, throw it out, and catch as many fish as possible, right? That's what your brain tells you, because you're a hustler, you're a go-getter, and you think you can do it all, and you just want to capture any opportunity. But quite honestly, that's a very flawed system in that, where, you may get lucky early on, and you can do 17,000 odd jobs all at once, but it's not a sustainable business model, and you're going to burn out, and you're going to find yourself in a situation that you can't produce. So my suggestion is to really take a look at your core strengths and competencies. Now, they could be a couple of different things for your business. It doesn't have to be one thing, but from how you present yourself into the marketplace, as if you're the XYZ construction company, really go all in on that, because what that will do is build that reputation on you are the hired gun for this type of work. That will build your reputation, and then once your reputation is established to where you have word of mouth, there's going to be opportunities that's going to lead you to things that are maybe outside of that scope in due time. But the important thing is, certainly follow the journey, create the path for you, and really hone in and refine what you're really good at, and make that your foundation, because as you grow and over time, as mentioned, you're going to find the opportunities are going to find you. Now, I think Richard Branson had also said, You know, when someone gives you an opportunity, you take it and you figure it out, right? And so it is strategic at a time and place, but when you get to a certain level and establish, then I guarantee you're going to find those opportunities that are a little bit out of scope, but big opportunities that you'll figure out to execute on it. So, as mentioned, this was a rapid fire session here. We're just wrapped up here. Thanks again. If you have any follow-up questions, you know where to find me here in the portal with AO, and everyone enjoy the day. Thanks for joining. Bye-bye.